Man, today do I have a treat for you. Beef ribs with black cherry cola glaze. I know it sounds like a mouthful, but these beef ribs is gonna be amazing. You wanna get you the short plate beef ribs, and you wanna cherry pick it. You wanna make sure your short plate has a nice thick meatiness, okay? Sometimes you have to pull off the membrane off the back of the ribs, but for these you don't have to do that because they do a damn good job at Costco. Remember, cherry pick your short plate, all right? So what you want to do is you want to transfer this over to a large baking sheet, okay? You may have to do this in 2 different pans. Then you want to go ahead on and pour over it some hickory liquid smoke and some Worcestershire sauce. Only use hickory liquid smoke. All right, so after you get that poured over, then what you want to do is you want to flip the ribs a couple of times to make sure it's nice and coated with this hickory Worcestershire liquid smoke marinade that we got going, all right? Then in the bowl, you want to mix together some salt, black pepper, and some garlic powder. Go ahead on and stir that on up together. I only use kosher salt because you have to use less. Then you flip it over with the bone side up, and then you want to liberally season that bone, okay? Don't lose your mind to the point where you don't have enough season after, okay? And then after you season the bone, then you want to season every piece you see the meat on the side, okay? Every piece of this rib needs to be loved, all right? Then go ahead on and finish off all of your seasoning on the top and make it hurricane, all right? Go ahead on and just lose your mind with how much seasoning you put over. Just make sure that it's nice, even coating. Now, the secret is you want to let this sit out for an hour, for 1 whole hour at room temperature, all right? Then you're going to go ahead on and take some water and pour it along the sides. And then we're going to go ahead on and cover it with some plastic wrap. Yes, plastic wrap, okay? This is the secret to tender ribs. And then you want to go ahead on and get some foil. All right, now, there is 2 sides of foil. There's a dull side and a shiny side. You want to use the shiny side facing the ribs because you want the shiny side to reflect the heat and keep all that heat and moisture in here, all right? Now, what this is going to do is it's going to keep these ribs nice and tender and begin to steam them as we pop them into a 300-degree oven for 2 whole hours. Yes, 2 whole hours. Now, while that's waiting, in the ribs, in the oven, let's go ahead on and make our black cherry cola glaze, all right? Take your fresh cherries, put the stem to the side, and throw all the cherries in, all right? Put you some 3 sprigs of rosemary, a little bay leaf, and then we're gonna have some salt, black pepper, and some cinnamon. Put that all in there, all right? Then we're gonna take a little bit of water, get your water in there, and then we're gonna go ahead on and drop a whole 2 liter of cola in there. You call it Coke, put whatever cola you want. You want to use any of the varieties they got on there, go for it, have your fun, all right? Bring it on up to a boil, and then you're gonna let that reduce for about 1 hour and 10 minutes, okay? So I transferred it to a smaller pot so you can actually see it. Once it gets to about a cup, cup and a half, 2 cups, somewhere in the middle, right? Go ahead on and add 1 cold tablespoon of butter. Take it off the heat, and then go ahead on and just stir that in until the butter has fully melted, all right? As this glaze sits out and gets cooler, it begins to thicken naturally, all right? So it's perfect. Let's set that to the side, wait for our ribs to come out. Now that our ribs are nice and finished, you want to be careful when you release this because you don't want to burn yourself. That steam is hot, all right? So after you finish fighting and figuring out the strategic way to get the foil and the saran wrap off, all right, and not burn yourself in the process, look at how gorgeous these ribs look just after 2 hours of baking in the oven, all right? You see the bone is starting to be more exposed, and you also notice that the meat is starting to shrink on it, right? That is perfect. That's what we want, all right? Now, before we take this on to the grill, a good tip is there's all this juice that we had, the hickory smoke, the Worcestershire, the water, all of that is a good basting liquid if you're not going to use this glaze recipe, okay? So what you want to do is you want to remove that from the pan and then go ahead on and transfer it. You can actually finish this recipe in the oven for another 2 hours after you take the foil off. Now we're going to take it to our grill. I got my grill about 300, 325, and I'm going to sit this bone on indirect heat. Check the recipe link for more understanding about indirect heat, direct heat, all that good fun, all right? Then you want to go ahead on and lose your mind and go ahead on and just glaze this rib with the black cherry cola glaze, all right? Just go ahead on and just paint it. Get your Picasso on, who is that guy? Get your Picasso on, your Basquiat. Just go ahead on and get your HGTV. Just whatever terminology in your mind means paint with a frenzy and enjoy yourself, that's what you want to do. Then you close it and let it cook for 2 hours. And every 30 minutes, you're going to come back and keep glazing that rib with that cherry cola sauce. And after that last 2 hours, what you want to do is take a knife and pierce it right by the bone. It should go in with ease and effortless, all right? That's when you know this rib is done. Let's go ahead and take this rib inside so we can look at how beautiful it really is. All right, look at how gorgeous. A beautiful bark on the outside. Of course, since we use some cola, it got a little bit darker than you may think, but I'm telling you, that will not take away from the flavor, okay? This beef rib is going to be gorgeous. All right, so let that rest for about 15 minutes before you start to slice into it. Now, when you're at home, you can lift this up and slice it so you can follow the bone. But for the sake of recording this video so you can see me cut it, I've got it laid down, bone side down. And then all you want to do is you want to take your big chef knife, all right? Don't be playing with this rib. This is a big rib, okay? This is what Fred Flintstone used to eat back in the day. You know what I'm talking about? And then you just want to cut this beef rib and get ready to enjoy it. You might have to beat the people out of your house because they're going to always ask you to make these beef ribs, all right? Look at how amazing that is, all right? See, you got this little piece of this little skin. Just pop it off. And that's how easy it is to make these beef ribs with black cherry cola glaze. You can find the recipe link down below or go to KennethTemple.com. I got more glazes for you this summer.